And thank you very much for joining us on Good Afternoon Ghana. It's been a rainy afternoon. Be careful out there, those of you who are out in town, out and about in town. The rains are in, and you've got to be careful with how you drive in town. My name is Aldo Moro. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, there's a raging storm. I'm not talking about the rains that is coming out, but I'm talking about a raging storm in Parliament. Big, massive controversy surrounding some secret recruitments that have been made into the security services as alleged by the minority in Parliament. But the majority in Parliament have actually dismissed the allegations by the minority, and they're saying what the minority is saying is totally untrue, and that administratively and mathematically it is not possible for 138 majority MPs to be assigned 30 persons, both from from the military and the police. That comes up to about 4,140 or so. They're saying it's not possible, but security analysts are worried, and a few questions are being asked. When we come back, we'll be talking to some security analysts to find out what they make of these allegations that it is going back and forth between the majority and minority, and whether if indeed what the minority is saying is anything to go by, whether it poses any threat as far as the 2024 elections are concerned. My name once again is Morado. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. And the WhatsApp line for those of you who want to join us this afternoon is 0244-262-314, 0244-262-314. That's the WhatsApp line in case you want to join the conversation by expressing your thoughts about what you make of this back and forth between the NDC and the NPP, as majority and minority in Parliament, over the recruitment of some NPP thugs, as the NDC put it, into our national security services. Let me say that I've been joined by three persons who are more than capable of discussing this particular issue. So joining us is Dr. Adam Bona. Dr. Adam Bona is a security analyst and also a security consultant. Let me say that he's joined us via Zoom. Doc, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Doc, can you please unmute your microphone?
Good afternoon, Audu, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Right. We'll shortly be joined by the MP for Wa West and also member of the Defense and Interiors Committee of Parliament, and I'm talking about the man Peter Lanchine Tobu. He'll be joining us via phone shortly. And then also the Honorable Patricia Appiaje, who is the Member of Parliament for Asukwa and also the Deputy Majority Leader, will also be joining us on phone because yesterday the majority held a news conference in reaction to what the minority has said earlier about this recruitment matter. So Madam Patricia Appiaje will also be joining us via phone on this particular issue. But let's start with Dr. Adam Bona, who is with us for the time being. Now, Doc, I don't know what your preliminary thoughts. Before you come in, we have a short video that I want to play for our viewers. So let's watch this before we come to Dr. Adam Bona.
Parliamentary candidate has been offered 30 slots, 5 for each of the security services, the 6 of them. 5 for police, 5 for immigration, 5 for fire service, 5 for army, 5 for air force, and 5 for prisons. But let me say, so if it is 30 times 275 constituencies, it's 8,250 NPP foot soldiers disguised as police personnel going into an election. First of all, I wish to ask, what is the motive? Recruiting them 6 months into the elections. I mean, I'm concerned. When all is said and done, we have a country to protect. But you can politicize everywhere, but dare not politicize the security services. But where the country is going is a matter of concern to us. And that is why we are raising the concerns now. This morning, our colleague, the Honorable Peter Lanchine, has written to the IGP, asking the IGP to halt the practice and protect the professionalism of the Ghana Police Service. We are not stopping here. The ranking member is also here now. He's sending a warning to the minister responsible for interior with the force of the NDC minority. And we are telling all those security agencies to comply with the laid down principles and procedures in recruiting people into the security services. We can't run a country like this. The trend is worrying and we need to stop it. So we are calling on them that we are all Ghanaians. Every Ghanaian, regardless of the person's political color, deserves to be treated fairly. And therefore, we are asking them to halt this process. And if they want to recruit people into the police service, immediately they should advertise, and the process must be transparent, and the right people must be selected for the purposes that we know that the service is going to perform. They are going to work for.
That was a press conference that was held by the minority yesterday, and the majority also held a news conference. We may bring you that excerpts of that shortly. Josiah, do we have that of the majority as well? If we don't, let's just let's get to work by talking to Dr. Adam Bonai and also Peter Lanchini Tobu, who will also be joining us via phone. Do I have the Honorable Peter Lanchini on now? Do we have the Honorable Peter Lanchini on? Not yet. Okay, all right. But do we have the majority video on? Okay, we don't have that yet. Okay, so let's go to Dr. Adams Bonai, since we don't have the majority, the excerpts of the majority's press conference yesterday in Parliament. So let's go to Dr. Adam Bonai. Start. Okay, so let's also watch the majority as they did their press conference yesterday.
138 parliamentary candidates of the New Patriotic Party, of which they are recruiting party vigilantes into the security services. Here is Dr. Kesela Tuforsin, the minority leader, making the claim at that press conference.
The NDC minority can authoritatively state that not long ago, the NPP government again has illegally and fraudulently given out 30 slots to all NPP parliamentary candidates across the country for the recruitment into the security services, namely Ghana Police Service, 2, the Immigration Service, 3, the Fire Service, 4, the Ghana Army, 5, the Ghana Navy, and 6, the Ghana Air Force.
However, at a counter press conference, the majority caucus, led by its deputy leader, Patricia Appiagyei, refuted the claims, indicating that the allegations by the minority is an attempt to cause chaos in the December elections.
The minority's assertion that 276 MPP parliamentary candidates, including 138 sitting MPs, have each been given 30 recruitment slots is mathematically and administratively ludicrous. These claims are not only false, but are a desperate attempt by the minority to incite public disfavor against the government as we approach the 2024 general elections.
The majority, who is Frank Anodompre, challenged the minority, particularly the leader, Kesela Tuforsin, to prove evidence of the claims he is making.
Maybe that has been the modus operandi of the minority. And so they are thinking that we are doing same. It is not the case. We want, through this media, want to challenge the Honorable Tuforsin. If he has better particulars, he better do so, or forever keep his silence on this matter. This election will be prosecuted on facts and figures. We know, psychologically we know, that they know they are down. Knowing that they are down, they will be throwing tantrums and be just muddying the waters and putting all sorts of wild allegations out there.
In an earlier interview, government spokesperson on governance and security, Paugrey Boachi Dankwa, also refuted the claim, indicating that the NDC must not be taken serious on this matter.
I've been having conversations all across board to ensure that we verify this. But as I speak to you now, there is nothing of that nature. as I speak to you. There are no slots that are given to the majority side of parliament to be able to get people to come into the military or the police or the fire service. It's palpable.
Security analyst Adam Bona called for a probe into the development. He urged the Interior Minister Henry Korte to stop talking and allow the security agencies to deal with the issue.
Ministers should tread cautiously when these things come up, because then you either would fuel the suspicion or you will say certain things that it is difficult for anyone to.
All right, so this is how we intend to set the tone, or this is how we set the tone for what promises to be a very interesting conversation this afternoon. I've been joined on the line by the Honorable Peter Lanchene Tobu, who is the MP for Wa East and also member of the Interior and Defense Committee of Parliament. He's joined us now. Dr. Nabona, please hang on a minute. I'd want you to listen to the member of Parliament and then we can bring it in. So let's start with the Honorable Peter Lanchene Tobu. Vandal Peter, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Moro. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. It's been a while.
It's been ages, indeed.
Right.
I hope you are doing well.
Well, I'm doing very well. We call ourselves V-mates.
V-mate, and we say sharp.
Sharp. Anyway.
Leadership is developed from the Vandal City.
Absolutely. There's absolutely no doubt about that. So now tell me this. What's the background to this allegation you're making about the government recruiting about 30 of their party faithfuls into the security services to ostensibly protect NPP MPs? And for what? How long have you been monitoring this this exercise, and at what point did you decide that you want to go public with it? That's if indeed everything you're saying is absolutely true.
Thank you very much. Let me say good afternoon to my co-panelists. I'm told Dr. Adam Bona is on the other side.
Yes.
I don't know if the Deputy Majority Leader, Honorable Madam Patricia Piaget, is also on the other side.
Well, what we've decided to do is that in order that you do not have a clash where you're talking over each other's voice, we decided that when we're done with you, whatever issues you raise, we will speak to her for her responses so that we can have a very civil and decent conversation. So that's the whole idea.
Great. So I send my regards to both of them, and I want to say good afternoon to your cherished viewers and listeners. Moro, we are talking about matters of internal security, and we are talking about the Fourth Republic, which is just about 32 years old. What are the practices? Best practices, of course. And for 32 good years, are we progressing positively or we are retrogressing? On matters of recruitment, very particularly protocol recruitment, I am saying it all here for people to learn that if both of us, for instance, if both of us are thieves, we steal granite from my father's farm and steal mangoes from your father's farm. One day, if I find that you have gone to get a gun and you now found yourself on the road robbing people, shooting and killing, if I want to go and report you to the police, in other words, if I report you to the police and you go telling me that if I don't go and withdraw the report from the police, you are going to tell the police that I'm also a thief, I'll be willing to let you know that, yes, I know that I am a thief. We used to steal granules and mangoes together. But where you have escalated the thing to, it is completely destructive. That is why I want you to stop it. This is not the direction. That is exactly the scenario I want to paint regarding protocol recruitment. This thing has been going on for years. What used to be the case was that you have probably 30,000 people taking part in police recruitment exercise. And the police are probably looking for only just 2,000. Out of the 30,000, maybe about 10,000 will have passed the examination. They are qualified. But the police can only take 2,000 at the time. At that material moment, you find a lot of big guys coming in and lobbying to ensure that at least if my ward is part of the 10,000, he's passed or she's passed. But because you are taking only 2,000, it is difficult for you to be sure that your ward can make the 2,000. And that is where lobbying comes in and protocol comes in. They don't bring names of strangers in the sense that they've never taken part in the recruitment exercise, and all of a sudden you find a list of people who are supposed to be going for training. That is completely very unprofessional, as much as we agree that even this bit of the protocol I have just described is not also good enough. Coming forward, we got into the point where the NPP government decided, under the new Minister of Interior, Honorable Henry Kote, that they are going to give slots to their parliamentary candidate as part of the campaign booster, 30 slots per person. And I dared the minister. He said, if the NDC jokes is going to publish names of NDC MPs who also brought names for recruitment, you've just become a minister. You've never been had a meeting, an official meeting with the members of the Defense and Interior Committee. And all of a sudden you have a policy that says that you are going to consider a backlog of people, giving them a second chance. And that is administratively erroneous. It is not done anywhere. The minister is responsible for policy. If there is a new recruitment policy, it can be a policy that is unknown to the Defense and Interior Committee. And that is why I say, if there is a new policy, we need to know what is the policy direction of the current government regarding recruitment. The Defense and Interior Committee needs to be informed. We have no idea. We have not even met the minister yet. I'm sure that when we resume, we'll invite him and we'll sit down and look at his policy direction. We have not met him yet. So that you cannot have a policy that is talking about looking at giving people a second chance. People who were recruited in 2021 and those who couldn't make it through the selection process. You are going back to 2021 to give them a second chance. What of those who have become of age or are qualified by our own criteria in 2022, 2023, 2024? What do you expect them to do? Have you forgotten all of a sudden that it is right in the National Security Strategic Document that youth unemployment is the greatest security threat of our nation? Do you want to tell these young people after 3-4 years that they shouldn't have any hope? What is it that you have to go back to do? Listen, Moro, before recruitment, a bit of education. The police institution will do what we call needs assessment. And the needs assessment will cover the human resource needs of the service. When they are done with that, and a decision is taken that we can add on 10,000 more if there is enough funding from the state, they go and make a presentation to the Minister of Finance. Look at the police population ratio, look at the crime rate, and all the details that are required. Please, can you allow us to recruit, for instance, 10,000 new men and women? The Minister of Finance says, let me look at ability to pay. Can we cover that in the budget? And finally, the Minister of Finance will give you a clearance based on the strength of the state vis-a-vis ability to pay. When the Minister of Finance gives you clearance, probably he says, no, I can't do the 10,000. I can do 5,000 for you in 2024, for example. When you come back, what you do is that you announce to the Ghanaian people through whether it's a press conference or it is an advert in the newspapers, radio station, everywhere, we want to recruit. And in doing the needs assessment, you have categorized the needs of the various subsectors of the service. You need engineers, you need people with psychology background, you need lawyers, you need carpenters, you need masons, you need computer experts or computer engineers. You categorize all that with the requirements. And people will go and apply. It's public. This is a public, it's a public institution. And when you apply, you go through the process and you are qualified, you are enlisted into the Ghana Police Service. Simplicity. COVID recruitment is a disaster. COVID recruitment is a demoralizer. COVID recruitment can damage the very integrity of the service. So when you begin sharing and people say, oh, do you have evidence? Excuse me, 137 NDC MPs in Parliament, with 138 in the majority group. Do you think that we are enemies? We are not enemies. We just belong to two different parties. But we're talking about Ghana here. And at the level of the Defense and Interior Committee, we don't do partisan politics with security. So when I'm speaking, because this is not a committee level discussion, it is on air, don't expect me to spill the beans all. But I can say as a matter of certainty that if you give something to my MPP brothers, we will get to hear because we are friends. We will get to hear because we are thinking about Ghana. And when we get to hear it is bad and we tell you, please stop it, just be humble enough to say, oh, we are not going to do it. And I was excited when I hear the Minister of Interior say, oh, yes, there is nothing like that. We are not doing anything like that. But, and when the bat came, I said, okay, I'm listening. He said, but you see, we need to give people a second chance. So we are looking at backlog. And let me give you some indication. Probably he was not a member of the Defense and Interior Committee some time past. We invited the former Minister of Interior, Honorable Ambrose Derry, and the Inspector General of Police and other security heads on matters of recruitment. When we heard that there was some training going on in the training schools, and we never saw any advert about recruitment. They told us that it was just a little bit of a backlog that they were clearing from the 2021 recruitment that people had passed, and they were training them in bits. And that was the last batch. And we told them, we don't have backlogs in recruitment. That is a very bad practice. Stop it. But because the candidates were already in the training school, we allowed it to slide. So there is no, Mr. Minister, there is no backlog according to your predecessor. And the Interior and Defense Committee endorses the fact that there is no backlog. So don't create an artificial backlog that will give you problems. And we can prove to you that we are creating it. It will give you problems. So we are saying, stop it. If you want your people to be recruited, Ghanaians, we want equity. We want transparency. And somebody says, oh, but what was happening in the past? It used to happen. I am saying that in the past, if it used to happen, there was a bit of decency in what it is. And I've just narrated how it used to happen. But this particular one, if we sit as a people and allow a political party in power to do what they want to do, tomorrow, if another political party can also do the same thing, what we'll arrive at is a democracy without a professional police institution. And that is very dangerous.
I see.
Let me allow this to be some initial comments.
That's fine. But just a couple of questions. Can you confirm if indeed this recruitment has already taken place, or you found out or you discovered that they are in the process of recruiting these NPP foot soldiers into the security services? Which is which? Has it already happened?
They have allocated the slots.
Okay.
They are putting the names together.
Okay.
And some of the candidates have gone as far as, and it's normal in politics, if you are a candidate and they give you 30 slots, you cannot populate the whole 30 slot without the chairman of the party in your constituency.
Right.
That will not survive. So some of them have given some to their chairman, and the chairman have also gone, some of them have sold the slots. Okay? And it's embarrassing. You know, what is making me to speak out? If you find a candidate with 30 slots, he decides that as a politician, let me empower my chairman. He also gives 5 slots to his chairman. The chairman says, my vehicle is broken down for 6 months. I don't even have money to repair it. The chairman decides to give maybe 3 to his family people and sell 2. One is 20,000 Ghana cedis, for example, and 2 people buy it. Okay? 2 people buy 20,000 each. That is 40,000. He gets 40,000 to work on his vehicle ready for campaign 2024. And when you hear it, say, so if you want to join police, you want to join immigration, you want to join fire service, or you want to join the army, and you have money, you can buy. They are selling. Is it the army that is selling? Is it the police that is selling? Is it the immigration that is selling? Or is the fire service that is selling? No, it is not the institution that is selling. These are politically influenced sales that are denting the image of these various institutions. And we should stop that because it will destroy the whole character of the various security institutions. Okay, so I am saying that this is what is happening. And we are asking them to stop it. Because if it succeeds, the type of people that will be recruited into the service, it will just completely destroy the professional character, the national character of the Ghana Police Service.
Well, okay, help me understand something, Peter. But these are guys who applied to be recruited into the security services. Unfortunately, they didn't succeed because the numbers were just too many. Now, are you saying that the usual practice has been once you do not get the opportunity to serve in the security service at a certain year, and we move on to the next year, you have no business, or government has no business, looking back to say, well, there were some guys who couldn't make it. Let's go and clear the backlog before we move on. You're saying that that has never been the practice.
Thank you. That has never been the practice, and it can never be the practice. And if anybody attempts, the attempt will just damage the institution. Let me give you a very good explanation to that.
Okay.
When you go through the recruitment process, the police, the army, the immigration, all these security agencies, they look for the best. And they want the best to produce the best of security for this country. So if 70,000 people, for instance, apply to join the police service, and the police service are looking for 5,000, out of the 70,000, probably if 30,000 of them go through the process and they are qualified, the police will take the best 5,000. And the rest of you, try your luck the next time. Okay. And that is why it is important that anytime they do needs analysis and they want to recruit, you can actually recruit on annual basis. Every year you can recruit. And if the minister is saying that, we don't want to sell forms again, people are spending so much money in buying forms. What is wrong with government saying that you don't need to buy any form? If you are going to pick the form, it is free. The state is saying that you are coming to serve Mother Ghana. Don't pay a dime in picking the form. What is wrong with that? Can government do that? Young boys and girls who had completed school, they are so frustrated in their homes. If government decides that we are recruiting, and please, there is no cost attached to the form, people will be excited.
Okay.
And I think the government can do that. And I'm suggesting to the minister, he should stop what he's doing, open up and let people apply. If you think it's a matter of money that will create problems, tell the people that it is going to be free.
All right. So you are raising two interrelated issues. The first one is the modus operandi that the government has adopted in recruiting these people, because you're saying that, look, standard practice, once you recruit in a certain year, you move on so that new people apply, and when they pass, they're recruited. You don't go back to say you want to clear the backlog. So that's the procedure. And so procedurally, you're saying there's a problem. But closely related to that is also another issue you're raising, which is where 30 slots have been allocated to only NPP MPs. So it's a twin issue you're raising. One has to do with how and who is being recruited, and the fact that they are being recruited for NPP MPs. So you're raising two issues at the same time. I hope I get that correctly.
Very little.
Okay. Now,
what I'm simply, if I can conclude on that.
Okay.
The truth is that when you conduct needs analysis for the institution, and you decide that you are going to recruit 20 carpenters for 2024, for example,
yes,
30 people with background in social psychology for 2024, for example, the needs of the service in 2025 will differ. So you can't go back. You can't go back to pick people who were needed at a particular time.
Peter, makes sense.
And fast forward.
I get it. Peter, makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, and I get your drift. So let's make progress. Now, the other issue is this. Government says if we allocate 30 slots to majority MPs, if you do the maths or you do the arithmetics, we're talking 30 by 137. That's almost 4,000. Government says it doesn't even have the budget to support it.
Please, 30 by 275. And that will give you about 8,250.
No, but you're talking majority, you're talking MPP MPs. That there's no NDC.
We are talking MPP parliamentary candidates.
Oh, candidates.
Yes.
Oh, not sitting MPs.
Not just sitting MPs.
Oh, then that's serious. That's almost 8,000 something.
Exactly. And I hear the deputy majority leader say the security services do not have the capacity to train more than 1,000 or between 1,000 and 2,000 in a year. They can only do 1,000 and 2,000 a year.
You disagree?
That the security service can only train between 1,000 and 1,200 a year. That is false.
Wow.
The capacity of the police training institution alone can do a one go of about 2,500. So within 1 year, police alone can train 5,000. So if you're talking about the fact that if you are giving 30 slots to each candidate, some will go to the army, some will go to immigration, some will go to prison service, some will come to police. I am telling as a matter of fact, if you get about 8,250 people spread among all these agencies, within a year, they will train all of them. It is possible. So when you say it was mathematically incorrect, I said, whoever briefed you made a mistake. The person did not have the answers. It is possible for the police, the army, the immigration, and everybody coming together to train more than 8,000 people in a year. It is possible. It's doable.
Wow. But they said they don't have the budget to support 8,220. Government doesn't have the money to pay that, because it's also got to depend on ability to pay.
Good. When they tell you they don't have the budget to do that, the day they will have the budget to do it, after they have allocated this slot and they've gotten the people, they will find the budget. And if it comes to even bringing a loan to Parliament to pass under very benign circumstances to get money to be able to support that, they have the capacity to do it. We're talking about government in power.
So you're saying that this whole argument about we can't pay is a red herring?
It's a red herring. This whole argument about, even the institution cannot train more than 1,200 a year is also wrong, mathematically wrong, and factually wrong.
All right. Let's make progress, because you would have to let go of you so that we bring in Madam Patricia J, who is the deputy majority leader. So fast forward, how do we make progress? Because you have raised the issue. How do you block this recruitment from happening?
Thank you very much. Member of the Defense and Interior Committee, with my committee chairman, Honorable Kennedy Japan, with the ranking member, Honorable James Agalda, we are saying, if you have a policy change in recruitment, We want to hear you at the committee level before you take any step. And don't do anything that is untoward. The standard practice is there. If you want to deviate from the standard practice, it should be something that should benefit the Ghanaian people. It should be something that will create some spirit of accountability. We are looking at promoting transparency in our democracy, and we cannot promote transparency in our democracy and get good governance if the security institutions are operating under an opaque condition. That is bad. Let's not allow policy people to jump down to the administrative and operational level. The minister is a policy person representing the president. The inspector general of police, the chief of defense staff, the comptroller general of immigration service, they are all heads of these institutions, are taking care of the administrative and operational angle of these institutions. And recruitment is an administrative function. It is not a policy matter.
Okay.
If you want to change the recruitment process, you bring a new policy. And you cannot begin to implement a new policy without it being made known to the Defense and Interior Committee.
I get that, but just briefly, Peter, if you were asked to substantiate the claims that you're making, can you substantiate the claim? Can you back it with some kind of evidence?
We are talking security here. Tell whoever is doubting us, they should meet out at the Defense and Interior Committee level.
Okay.
And over there, because we don't do partisan politics, when we get in and lock the gate, I'm sure when they come out, they'll be sweating, and Ghana will be safe.
And you're also saying that if the IGP doesn't do anything about it, he'll go down memory, or he'll go down in history as one of the worst IGP. That's a bit harsh.
I am saying that recruitment is an administrative function, and it is at the doorstep of the Inspector General of Police. So if he becomes IGP and during his regime, he has facilitated the distribution of slots to politicians, and that can allow him to recruit people of that nature. And that is a new norm of recruitment, I can assure him. He will go down history as one of the worst IGPs ever produced.
Peter Lanchini Tobu, you're the Member of Parliament for Wa East. Thank you very much for your time.
It's been a pleasure. Please correct that. Wa West.
Wa West, sorry. Thank you. Wa West. Thank you so very much for that quick correction. I appreciate that. He's also a member of the Interior and Defense Committee. Let me come to Dr. Adam Bona. Dr. Adam Bona is one of the most sought-after security consultants and security analyst in town at the moment. Doc, it's always a pleasure having you on the show. I mean, what do you make of this? I mean, I asked for some evidence. It says I'm not going to be able to give you any evidence because this bothers security. When we go to Parliament, we will prove at the defense and security level, we'll prove to them that we know exactly what we're talking about. I mean, what do you make of this?
Let me once again greet your viewers and yourself and my brother, Honorable Peter Lanchini Tobu, and attention the Deputy Majority Leader, Madam Yeji. It would have been good for Honorable Lanchini Tobu to have provided us probably the evidence, because this is a matter of public interest. And so once you put it out there that something of this nature, and you heard him say slots are being sold, I think that is even more serious. That is even more serious than I would have wished that you would have asked. I don't know whether he's still there. You would have asked my brother, Honorable Peter Lanchini Tobu, to probably expatiate. I have heard about slots being sold left and right. I would have wanted him to speak to it because that is even more serious than sharing slots. Because then, if it becomes the highest bidder, would be the one who gets recruited into the security service, as is being alleged, then that is serious. I must be honest, I work within the space. I am very close. I have very close working relationship within the space. I work with almost all of them, from the bottom to the top. I work with almost all of them, and but this is something that I don't have evidence. If you ask me, am I aware of it? I am only aware of it usually on social media, where you have some members of parliament or some party people who will take photographs of people they are alleging that they found work for within the security services, and they put them on social media handles like Facebook, Instagram, and what have you. And usually we talk about it. We have also had some members of parliament who would criticize their constituents, alleging that their constituents are very unappreciative because they put some of the people in the security services, and yet they don't appreciate them for being able to do that. And this is there. If you Google these statements, you'll find them in those who made those statements.
Yeah.
And so you can always play the voices and you know it's them. And so what I would say, my brother, what I would say is that we shouldn't just leave it like that. These are serious allegations, especially going into 2024. And these allegations are coming up. Why? Because the suspicion is there that there's likely, we are likely to see some rigging. We've been told that there could be some rigging if things are not done right. Now, we are hearing there's the possibility of recruiting young people into the security service, 30 slots. This is serious. And I ask a rhetorical question. If 30 slots are being given, let me put it out there, I have very close relations within when I say relatives who are members of parliament, and our relatives on the NDC and the NPP side. But this has not come to my attention.
Okay.
In fact, I had somebody call me, asking me, I think he's a candidate, he's a parliamentary candidate on the side of the NPP. He called me before this news broke and was asking me, because I work within the security sector, is there a way, some people he knows can be assisted? And I said, I don't have a clue how this is going to be done because I don't get myself involved in this.
Yeah.
And so I am still wondering, the veracity, whether this is what is coming out, whether, how do we situate it, especially from my conversation with an NPP parliamentary candidate, in fact, before the news broke. So there is even a possibility that if there is a sharing that is going on, maybe without actually saying that it is true, maybe some people might have been given. I'm not saying it is true. And some people have not been given. The possibility is there. But I'm speaking from a point of view of an NPP member of, an MP is not a parliamentarian, it's a candidate, who asked me, do I have any network that can assist? And I said, no, I don't have no network. I cannot help. I don't get myself involved in this. Recruitment issues are very sensitive and I don't want to get myself involved in it. And it ended there. And so, but maybe now that this thing is come out, I might have to find out from him again, whether did he know about something that I wasn't aware of, that some sharing was taking place. Hopefully he will tell me the truth. But Mr. Audu, my brother Audu, it's difficult for me to say,
okay,
I have any knowledge about some sharing that is going. And I would have wished that my brother Peter Lanchene Tuobu would have provided us the evidence.
Okay.
Because you see, it's a very sensitive matter. And I've asked rhetorically.
All right. Now,
how many slots for the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces?
Right.
How many slots if a parliamentary candidate in an orphan constituency is given 30? How many would the president be given? I haven't had an answer. How many is allocated to the vice president? I haven't had an answer. The chief of staff, who every minister relates to, the go-to person when it comes to, ministers and whatever, is the chief of staff. I don't know how many is given. She's given, sorry. And I don't know, it's not every minister who is a member of parliament. You have someone like Honorable Okuboy, just recently, I think he's a parliamentary candidate. So,
no, actually, according to Doc, according to Peter Lanchene, in fact, he's just clarified it that he's talking about their parliamentary candidates. So 275 constituencies. every constituency where there's an MPP parliamentary candidate, he's alleging that 30 slots have been allocated to them. So if you do the maths, that's about 8,220. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, I heard him. That's Mr. Audu, my brother. This is serious. This is a serious matter.
Yes.
And so I'm wondering why the conversation should be held behind closed doors.
Right. Now let me read.
It should not be, the conversation should not be held. So if there is evidence, they should put out the, let's have the evidence.
But he says, but Doc, he says it borders on security. He's not going to put out evidence of security issues publicly. He says he's not comfortable doing that. But let me do this. And fortunately, Peter says, let
me come in.
Okay.
Can you let me come in?
Yeah, please come in.
You see, yes, it borders on security. It borders on security. But first of all, I respect my brother, Honorable Peter Lanchene so much. I work closely with him. We've done, when he used to be a police officer, we work very closely. I would want to say we haven't gotten to where this issue is a sensitive matter to that extent.
Okay.
Because these people have not been recruited.
Yes.
These people slots are now being shared. So I don't see how sensitive this issue is.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
So I don't know. Let me be honest with you. The sensitivity level would have gone up. It would have been heightened.
Okay.
If, as we speak, these recruits or these purported, applicants,
all right, Doc,
undergoing training.
I guess it, Doc. Just
levels of training.
Doc, I beg you, just hang in a minute. We have to take a minute break, just a minute. We have to sell. But let me also say that I have joined. We're fortunate to be joined on the line by the Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable Madame Patricia Appiagyei. Let me say a very good afternoon to her, and then we'll just take a minute break, and then we'll come back to her. Madam, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us on Good Afternoon, Ghana.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. So, Madam, we're just going to take a short break, just a 1 minute break, and then we'll come to you. All right, thank you very much for staying with us. This is Good Afternoon, Ghana. Let me just say that we're talking about the back and forth between the minority and the majority in Parliament about some alleged recruitment into Ghana's security services, where 30 slots have been allocated allegedly to NPP MPs, in fact, MPP parliamentary candidates across the length and breadth of the country. Joining us is a woman who was part of the majority team or the majority group that held a news conference today to rebut the assertions by the minority. Madame Patricia Appiagyei is joined us. She's the MP for Asokwa and also the Deputy Majority Leader. Madam, thank you very much for your patience. So yesterday you held a news conference and you're saying that the minority, what the minority is saying is absolutely and totally false, and that the minority are doing this because they just want to incur public displeasure for the government. Can you throw some more light on that, please?
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to throw in some light. What warranted that baseless statement is something that took me aback a bit, because I was wondering how they could come up with such falsehood. In the first place, it's not possible that one PC can be given 30 slots in the face of what the IMF is prescribing for the country. Because as we speak now, the country is being asked not to employ any further people into the government compensation ability. So it is important that we keep to the current levels that we have. And then the other issue is that if we will have to replace or even recruit or employ any further Ghanaians into the system, it will require that those who have exited as pensioners and those who have either through death have exited the government payroll are the people that will be replaced. But we're not going to go above it. But if you talk about 30 slots, you are multiplying 30 by 276, and if not more. And we are talking about 8,000 plus. And the government doesn't have a budget for that. And therefore, I consider that as a complete falsehood. But what you don't realize is that we have so many people who are at home now facing unemployment issues. Those people are already desperate. And if you try to create certain falsehood and let them think that some people are being given some preferential treatment which doesn't go through the known systems that we have developed, it creates a lot of displeasure. And it creates some disfavor against the government.
So
and therefore, it is not right for you to come up with such information, which is baseless and preposterous.
Now, Antipat, as we affectionately call you, I've been talking to Peter Lanchini, and he says that if you claim that what you're saying is not true, wait till they meet the Interior and Defense Committee, because they have evidence to back their claim that the government has allocated 30 slots to all your parliamentary candidates, some for prisons, Air Force, military, immigration, and so on and so forth. So they say they have the evidence, and so it says don't jump ahead of yourself. They're going to prove their point when the committee meets. And then secondly, they're also saying that this whole talk about we don't have the finances or we don't have the wherewithal to recruit over 8,000 Ghanaians into the security service. This is not true, because if government wants to do something, government will find the money to do it. And then the third issue he's also raised is that the Interior Minister Henry Quartey is on record to have said, yes, indeed, government has plans of clearing the backlog, and this whole practice of clearing backlog, it's something he has never heard before, and that once you recruit for a particular year and you get what you want, you move on. The following year, you advertise people who are interested, they pick up their forms, they come for interview, they write exams, and then you take it from there. But you don't say, I have a backlog of, say, X number of people who did not pass, and so I'm going to clear that backlog. He says, as far as he's concerned, he's worked with the police services for many years. He's never heard that before. How do you respond to these three issues that Peter Lanchini has raised?
Yes, I feel that whoever alleges must prove the point. Yes, so it is only right for them to come up with it. But meanwhile, I am not privy to whatever you say. And I am a candidate as well. I have a constituency as well. And I'm not privy to being given 30 slots. I mean, I see it as an attempt to cause so much disfavor against me, because my constituents will be looking up to me to give them opportunities. And I don't have it. And it is very disturbing that they should come up with all these things. And what Peter is saying, I really don't get it. Because if the government can find finances, I don't think that going to IMF and being given this condition that you don't have to employ more, we would adhere to those conditions.
Okay.
Because you don't have the money.
Okay. And then how about your response to this whole clearing of backlog? He says it's not done. It's not the standard practice. You don't do that.
Unfortunately, I cannot speak to that issue. I always say that we have a ministry that is responsible for that.
Okay.
What my concern is, I have my MPs are being alleged to have about 30 slots, which I don't know of.
Okay.
And I have to speak to that issue.
Okay.
But the minister will be the right the person to explain why he's going that way.
All right. So are you waiting for the evidence?
Yes, I'm waiting for the evidence.
Okay.
I'm waiting. I can't be threatened with some baseless issues.
Okay. All right, madam, thank you so very much for accepting to talk to us. It was a pleasure.
Right. Thank you too.
All right. So, Doc, how do we resolve this? I mean, once and for all, because it's becoming back and forth between the two. Are you also waiting for the minority to bring its proof or some kind of evidence to back their claim, to substantiate their claim?
Yes, I think it would be good. You know, these things, we've heard about them in the media space or in the airwaves or social media everywhere in the past that slots are given here and there. And I think that the other issue has to do with what's the name? The Interior Minister actually talking about they clearing a backlog.
Yes.
I think, and I have said it in various, I think on your network as well, that it would be good for the Interior Minister to stop talking. He's a policy maker. When it comes to backlog and all those are administrative matters.
Okay.
And so the immigration, the fire service, and the rest.
All right.
They should come out and tell us, do they indeed have a backlog?
Okay.
Do they have a backlog?
How many are they?
Yes. So I would want him to probably seize the conversation in the media and allow the administrators, those who run these organizations, to do the talking.
Okay.
Maybe that would be more better. But I think the evidence, let's see the evidence. It's very important.
All right.
If the evidence is there, they shouldn't go and discuss it in their meet, behind the scene.
You also want to see the evidence. Okay. All right.
So I would want to see it.
Okay.
But the truth is that it's worrying if these things are true. If it is true, I will tell you that very, very, very worrying. So we should see the evidence.
Okay.
I must say.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adam Bonai, a security consultant, a security analyst. Now, I want to say a big apologies to you, Peter Lanchenda Tobu. Because of time, we've not been able to get you back. You wanted to respond to something. Let's see whether we can have you in the studio one of these days so that we can have a lengthier conversation when you're back in town. Peter, we're so sorry. My name is Aldumo. Thanks for watching. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.